What's up, guys? It's Aidan with O'Neill's Outdoors.
And I'm Kevin O'Neill. Thanks a lot for joining us today. Aidan and I have been talking a lot about the different kind of content that we want to share with you guys. And one of the things that we thought would be pretty cool is to do something called Throwback Thursdays. So every Thursday for a while, we're going to be putting video out there to share with you guys from an old television show that I used to do. It was called O'Neill's Family Outdoors, and that was on the Outdoor Channel. So, you know, as we were talking about all this, there's all of these old Beta SP tapes, which is kind of some of you way back in the 80s might have had a Beta cam. Well, this is called Beta SP. It's not the consumer version. It was more of these great big cameras, and it was a broadcast quality. Funny thing is the cameras were so big back then to huck those things around in the woods with you. But anyhow, that's what we had. And they've been sitting up in a closet for 20 plus years. And I don't have a Beta deck anymore, so they've just been sitting, and the kids and my wife have been saying, come on, let's look at some of the old shows. So during the whole COVID thing, we cleaned out the closets and decided to get this footage digitized, and so we could enjoy it, kind of look back 20 years ago at some of the things that we were doing, but also we thought it'd be pretty cool to share it with you. In a second we're going to share that, but I want you guys to do me a favor. I want you to check and see if you see any spelling errors in any of the graphics from this old show. Because the guy that did the editing, he was a good guy, his name was Mark Hewitson. And Mark, good editor, but not a great speller. So sometimes he would forget to spell check. And I'm not really sure if it's going to be included in the portion we're going to share with you, but I did when I was reviewing this earlier. I saw him put up something called stripper fishing. So, have you guys ever heard of stripper fishing? No, we're going striper fishing for rockfish on the Chesapeake Bay of Maryland. But if you do catch any spelling errors, I'd appreciate it if you let us know. Put that in the comments below and check out the footage. We'll be back to talk about what you thought in just a moment.
Thanks a lot for joining us today. We're going to be heading out on the Chesapeake Bay of Maryland in search of the striped bass. Around here, everybody calls them rockfish or stripers. Let me introduce you to the crew here before we get started. This is Mr. Frank Iacobelli. He's the boat owner, and this guy's been fishing stripers for an awful long time. I'm really looking forward to getting out there and having you show us the ropes. Okay?
No problem.
Not a problem at all. This is my wife, Stacy O'Neill. This is going to be her first striper trip, and I'm actually more anxious to watch her catch fish than myself. We've got Phil Poist here, good friend from Maryland, and this is the rest of the guys that are going to be fishing in the crew. This is Jeff Brown, we've got Mike Goodman, and Kenny Vicari with us today. These guys have been slaying these fish, they tell me, for the last week, so I hope that we're going to have as good a luck as everyone else has. I personally have fished for stripers in the Potomac River when they're running up through the river. I've never fished them on the bay, so this is going to be a new experience for me. Mr. Frank has been fishing these things for years. How long have you been fishing for these guys?
47 years.
47 years, that's great. Before we head out there, I'm curious, will you be willing to show us some of the equipment and some of your great tips?
No problem.
All right. You've got it in the boat?
Everything's ready.
Well, let's get in there and take a look.
Let's go.
Okay, great. Well, all right, Mr. Frank, why don't you give us an idea of what kind of equipment you've been using? You've been real successful out there.
We have been using medium light tackle for the last week or so. It's been very effective with 25-pound test line.
Okay.
With a 1 ounce sinker with some beads to keep preventing the line from shearing at the barrel swivel.
So this is a 1 ounce sinker?
Yes.
And I noticed that it's a slip sinker. And
Yes.
the purpose of that is that when the fish take the bait, they're not going to feel the tension of that
less
line
resistance
right away.
on the line,
This
and
can just slide right through.
it's been very effective. We also use a 3-foot leader, a 40-pound test mono, with a 5/0 hook and a piece of LY, like so, for bait, and we're ready to go.
Are those the alewives over here?
Absolutely.
Let's take a look. Can we?
Yes, sir. What we generally do is cut a section of the LY out here, the most effective part on the fish.
Okay.
Okay, the rest of this we call just junk, and that I'll grind up for chum.
So this is going to be used to chum the fish in.
Absolutely.
We've got a grinder on the boat. We're going to show you that process in a minute. Then we'll go ahead and back over and hook this up to the
5/0
rig, the 5/0 hook we've got going on. Before we do that, these alewives are real interesting. I know that these are called by a lot of different names.
such
menhaden,
bunker,
buggies, okay.
It's a food fish, actually, for all type of variety of fish out in the bay.
Looks like a good, tasty bait fish. So any of you folks at home, be sure that when you're looking for this bait, you know, you don't have to just get an alewife. Go out there, it's called by a lot of different names, and this is what it looks like. Get out there and catch some fish. Hey, if I were a fish, I'd be eating one of these too. Stick with us. We're heading out for some stripers. When we get back, my top tips for increasing striper fishing success. Let's go.
You know, seems like every time you turn around, there's another one of them litterbug tourists. Hey, buddy, you forgot something. I used to have a nice view before he put that deer stand in here. He's one of them guys that never learns nothing. Hey, wake up. I think you left this at my place. You know, if I could pound some sense into these people, I would. The great outdoors is everybody's home. Don't trash it.
Chesapeake Bay, folks. This is definitely, without a doubt, where it is at. Yeah, man, that's Rockfish. Come to dinner. Oh, there he is. Nice fish. today, aren't you? Look at this deal. 26 inches. I like it. You guys have got to try this. This is great. You know, one of the most important things that we can do as elders is to try to involve the youth today in the outdoors, hunting and fishing. And Mr. Frank, I applaud you for doing that. You had your grandson out there. You have a heck of a nice boat that we were fishing on. But we watched your grandson, Nick. How old is he?
16.
16 years old. We watched him fishing with us. He was in the next boat over.
Right.
He was a captain of that boat.
Absolutely.
You let him have that responsibility.
Absolutely.
And you know, I'll tell you, it's better to have him out there on that boat than on the street corners, isn't it?
Absolutely. You're perfectly right, Kevin. We encourage so many young kids to come out with us, and I love doing it. Better out there than being on the street corner.
It's an amazing thing. There's a lot of responsibility involved. How long has he been fishing with you?
4 years.
4 years, since he's been 12. It's a pretty young age. Plenty of time to learn the ropes, isn't it?
Absolutely.
But now you've given him free rein.
I have no worry whatsoever with him. He's got all the responsibility. He's a very dependable boy, and he's going to grow up to be one hell of a man.
And I'll tell you what, it's amazing how much we can do by getting them out there on the water and teaching them that responsibility there. And that will carry over into all of the aspects of later life and into adulthood.
We encourage it so much, Kevin. I hope we can get more and more kids involved in this thing, and I'd love to take them out, teach them, learn the tricks out, the trade out there, and learn to be good fishermen. In this way, that will keep them absolutely off the corners.
I'll tell you what, he went out there, we watched him.
Oh,
he
yeah.
caught himself some fish.
That's right.
He was the guy that positioned that boat. He was the guy working the fish finder, the GPS. He knew what was up. I
Absolutely.
applaud you, Mr. Frank.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
I really do.
Dude, you're always on the phone. Enough with the phone.
I'm not allowed to reply to a subscriber who commented on one of our videos.
That's fine. You can reply to that. But
Okay.
man, right? Moms, dads, phones, these kids are always on them. But that's good.
Generous.
We always will reply to as many of the comments as we can. So we really appreciate it when you do comment. But here, I've got a question for you. What'd you think of that? What'd you think of that footage? It's the first time you've seen it.
You guys were a lot younger than you are now.
Definitely a lot younger, 20 years younger at least.
Different style of fishing. I went fishing for stripers when I was a lot younger, and I don't really remember because I was like 6 or 7. It was fun though.
Yeah, it was fun, and I've got some pictures of you. And I remember that trip where you caught your first striper. It was actually a really good-sized striper. You remember it? And the guy that was on the boat with us, he actually was like, oh, he'll never be able to land that fish. That's a big one. And I was like, no, he can do it. He can do it. Let him do it. And he's like, we're going to lose it. I'm like, it doesn't matter, right? Because the idea is for you to have the challenge. And you actually caught a nice striper. So we were all happy. We ate well that night. But yeah, you know, I really appreciate the comments. We really want you guys to kind of build a community with us and be a part of this great outdoors with us. You know, there's so many cool people that you meet along the way when you're hunting and you're fishing. Just like Mr. Frank and all those guys. Those guys were awesome. To this day, I remember how cool they were. And that's part of things that, you know, one of the things that I like so much about when you're enjoying the outdoors is you can do it and meet a lot of great, fantastic people. And like I said in the show, it's a great way to get your family and your kids involved in something that's wholesome and gives them a lot of really good life lessons. You know what I mean? And I've enjoyed teaching you about the outdoors, hunting, fishing, and there's going to be a lot more of that to come. So guys, do me a favor. Let me know if you like this concept of Throwback Thursdays, and is this something we should continue to keep doing? I think we'll do it, you know, unless everybody just says it's horrible. We'll continue to do it for a while and see what your thoughts are. Kind of cool for me to look back on these old videos as well. So we're going to share more and more with you. Appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.